And warm welcome to all of you to week 8, session 8 of the self-awareness journey series. So we started off with understanding why is self-awareness important, what does awakening self-awareness means, and we are ending with awakening consciousness. So the difference between self-awareness and where self-awareness fits into the term consciousness is what we are going to cover today. So we started off with understanding why self-awareness is important and how is it the foundation of everything, be it mindfulness or spirituality or personal growth. Then second session, we understood about thought awareness, how to become aware of thoughts, the origin of thoughts. In the third session, third week, we noticed emotional awareness. So how to become aware of emotions, how to embrace emotions, and how emotions are like fundamental teachers that teach us about ourselves, which are like great tools for self-awareness. Week 4, we try to understand about our childhood wounds, the unhealed version of ourself that gives rise to all these emotions that we react upon rather than respond. And from where are they sprouting? The inner child wounds, understanding emotional wounds. And the session following that was the ego, understanding ego, because that is the root cause of everything, all the inner child wounds and everything, how we observe the world, how we operate in this world. And the session after that was about incorporating self awareness in your everyday. That was the last session. And before that, we also looked upon how to incorporate self awareness in relationships and understanding our attachment styles, because that all those develop and give insights are about our own being and the relationship we have with ourselves and with others. So today we are going into like the end, towards the end of this series. So I wanted to do this concept of awakening consciousness and how or where does self-awareness come into play while understanding consciousness. So you can answer in the chat, what do you mean by the term consciousness? And I do have a presentation today since it's the last session, and I'll share my screen. And while I do that, you can share whatever that comes to your mind when you hear the term consciousness, because the term consciousness is often used quite commonly in the spiritual world. So what does that term mean to you? There's no right or wrong answer, no pressure. What comes to your mind when you hear the word consciousness? You can answer in the chat. So meanwhile, I'll share my screen. Can you all see my screen? Okay, so awakening consciousness, which is a journey to the self, to understanding the self. So have you ever wondered what it truly means to wake up? People say, I had an awakening, I woke up. What is, and currently there is this term in the Gen Z lingo which says woke culture. So what does the term wake up mean? How do you describe when someone says that I feel very awake, I feel awakened, I had a spiritual awakening experience? So have you ever wondered what it truly means to wake up? What does it mean to wake up? So before waking up, we need to understand what does it mean to even be sleeping, right? What does it mean to be asleep? Only then we can say that we understand what waking up is. So even before we understand the term consciousness, it's important to understand what unconscious state means, right? So unconsciousness or unconscious state is how most of us live, how most of us operate on a day-to-day basis, like running on autopilot, being disconnected from our souls, being just participating in that rat race, just follow a template that the society has put forward without questioning anything, without thinking about anything, being too busy, always busy, no time for anything. We are very busy, yet very unhappy, very busy, yet very unfulfilled. We are on autopilot. We just operate like without awareness, without consciousness, without any mindfulness. We are just living by the rules, not necessarily rules, but just taking life as it comes, feeling like a victim and feeling like life controls you or your destiny controls you. And there is some unexplainable unhappiness within ourselves when we live in this unconscious state. Because even though everybody has money, everybody has all the desires that they craved for, but still there is this lingering unhappiness within. And that's when people try to seek and come to this path to understand that all that is not needed. And the consciousness, getting in touch with the soul is what is missing, right? So the unconscious state is living on that autopilot mode, being a victim of life circumstances, totally working on reactions. There is no awareness to respond. There is persistent disconnection, means there is zero connection to the soul. We only operate from body consciousness, from our physical body, from our five senses. There is zero awareness or zero connection to our soul. There is no understanding of soul in the first place. And we are never present. We are never present in the current moment. We are always in the past or in the future. And who is the reason for that? That is our ego. So ego, we are fully running on ego consciousness, body consciousness. They are both the same, right? We are never present. We are not in the moment. We are operating based on our past wounds, or we are anxious about the future outcomes. And we are unaware. Again, we are not self-aware. So it's unaware. We are very busy, extremely busy. We have no time to even pause. We are so busy, but yet very unfulfilled. So this is the unconscious state. So to understand consciousness, we first need to know what unconscious state is, and this is what it is all about. Now we saw what unconscious state is. So let's understand what is consciousness. This term is used left, right, center in the spiritual world. There are many definitions, there is many outlooks, but based on my research and my understanding, a simple way it comes down, what consciousness comes down in a broad sense is nothing but it's a state of awareness. It's just merely a state of awareness. You are conscious of your surroundings means you are aware of your surroundings. That's it. In a broad sense, it's just a state of awareness. If I know what is in this room, if I'm conscious of the things in this room, it's nothing but I'm aware of the things. I'm aware what is placed where, what is a living thing, what is a non-living thing, what moves, what does not move. Where does the air come from? Where is the light coming from? Where the window is? That is the state of awareness that I have about this room. And that is nothing but the consciousness that I have of this room. In a broad sense, very broad sense, consciousness is nothing but it's just a state of awareness. Okay. So there are several layers of consciousness. One is basic awareness. Second one is self-awareness. That is what the whole series, this entire series was about. Next one is the higher consciousness. We always say higher consciousness. We use this term to state our higher self or our higher consciousness or God or universe. Different names, it all means the same. And last one is the unity consciousness. That is the entirety of this existence, and not both the physical and the non-physical. The entire unity consciousness is nothing but the feeling of oneness and the awareness of seeing everything as one, everything and anything as one. So that is unity consciousness. And the unconscious state that we were talking about, it's in the first one, the basic awareness. Now we're going to see what each one of this is. So what is basic? Basic awareness is nothing but the physical physical awareness or the body consciousness that we say, or the ego consciousness. So basic awareness is again nothing but using our five senses, that we have: the touch, the our sight, seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, feeling. The five basic senses are what forms the basic awareness that every human being has. Everyone who is in touch, who has a human existence, human life, who's in touch with their body, has this basic awareness. The feeling of threat, the sensation of danger, surrounding awareness. Just the example that I gave, understanding what the room has, where you are, the kind of people you are with, basic surrounding awareness. Body consciousness is nothing but ego awareness, because we do not have ego awareness. We are run by the ego. We have zero awareness of the ego, but we think what the ego, we don't know what ego is. So we just operate based on our thoughts, emotions, just like that. We don't differentiate the ego from us. So there is no concept of soul, there is no concept of ego, there is it's just whatever comes to mind, we act on it. That's how most of us are, right? Before coming to this path. So this is all basic awareness. That's how 99% of the world operates, who are not who are not into all of this, or not yet in the understanding of the soul, or in search of something. Next one is self-awareness. This is one step ahead of basic awareness, basic senses and awareness. We are all born with it. So what is the next one is the self-awareness. This entire series was about this, because this is the fundamental foundation to understand there is something that is beyond what we think we are. Understanding the existence of ego, understanding the existence of our thoughts and emotions being operated by the ego, not only in ourselves, but also in others and everybody around us. So the ability to reflect on self, the ability to understand that your thoughts are sprouting from something. They're just not random, and you don't have to act upon every single thought that you get. And the fact that your beliefs, your emotions, your experiences are all coming from some conditioning that we all grow up with. And it's not merely the reality, it's not the fact. We make it our reality. And creating that separation, the ability to create that separation between ego and your true self, or your higher self, or your soul, and getting little in touch with that soul, is what self-awareness does. So it is the beginning of everything. So it is like reflecting on yourself, reflecting on your patterns, on your thoughts, on the way you react, on the way you respond, the way you perceive others, the way we operate in our relationships, with everything and anything. How, instead of blaming life, instead of blaming the other person in our relationships, or instead of blaming a system or society, whatever it is, always trying to reflect on the self is the foundation. Understanding the self is the key purpose we take life as humans in the first place. So the ability to reflect on self is what self-awareness is, and this is what we learned throughout this series under different aspects. The next one is higher consciousness. This is when you are in touch with the soul. You understand that you are not the ego, you are not the mind, you are not the body, you are something beyond. And so is everyone, not just you, so is everyone. There is this deep interconnectedness to reality. You see beyond the physical, beyond what is being perceived by the physical eye. You're able to perceive uh, that there is no coincidence in life. Everything has sense, everything makes sense. There is this beautiful harmony, beautiful link and connectedness between everything that is happening in our lives, including the ugly or the sick parts, even sickness, physical health. When we understand the imbalances in our chakras and how they're causing, it's so beautiful. Everything makes sense. There is no coincidence. Everything makes sense. Everything that happens in life is a soul plan, and they are happening for our good. It is for our own growth. So there is nothing to be, uh, worried, or nothing to feel very ashamed of, because end of the day we will all figure out. We will only get challenges those challenges that we are able to uh, surpass, because that's how your soul has planned. The soul plan is always, it pushes us. It pushes us in the physical reality, so that only then we raise to our purpose. So that is what higher consciousness is. We are able to see that beauty. We don't take anything seriously. We understand we are part of a universal consciousness. We see that link. When somebody says awakened, I had this experience. When somebody says had an awakening experience, this is what they mean. They transcend that body consciousness. They transcend that ego consciousness. They had a glimpse, or they continue to live in that deeper interconnected reality. There is no I, there is no you. There is some sense of universal connectedness. There is some sense of being part of something very big. So when you're part of something very huge, there is no point in having any sort of negativity or any sort of competition or rat race that we all strive or try to have in our lives, that we are taught or being conditioned to believe that way. So there is some sort of connectedness, and there's just beauty. You just see beauty in everything. There is a deep interconnectedness to the universe. That is higher consciousness. This means you are in touch with the soul. You are being operated by the soul. You are on soul consciousness. This is what it means. And the next, this is what is unity consciousness, is this ultimate form of consciousness. It is the highest form of consciousness. This is where all the enlightened beings or masters have experienced. This is like, it is the highest. It is like oneness with every life, not just humans, everything, both physical matter, non-physical matter, living being, non-living being. They see uh, they see life and beauty and connection to everything and anything. It's just profound. It's just profound, beyond words, beyond explanation. Connectedness, interconnectedness, that unity. We are all one. Everything is one. You see even Buddha, and you see any of the great enlightened masters, or Jesus Christ, even when he was crucified, why was he not worried? Because he sees every one and everything in him. And there is only when you're able to see that, that is when that soul is being able to uh, bear that sort of pain that Jesus Christ was put through, right? So this is like ultimate consciousness, and this is what enlightened beings are usually in. So they are in this, they're floating in this beautiful highest form of consciousness with oneness. Forget about ego. There is not even a difference between anything. So they say they see God in themselves, they see God in others, they see the universe is just the beauty of the universe, they see in everything, both living and non-living. That it is a profound sense of interconnectedness. Like there is nothing to fight for, actually. That level of peace, that level of bliss, that level of enlightenment is what is unity consciousness. So what is awakening? Where does awakening come into picture then? As I said, when people say that, this is where we began this session, right? What does it mean to feel truly awake? What does being waking up mean? What does having a spiritual awakening experience mean? What does it mean? So it's nothing but awakening consciousness, the topic of today's having an awakening or experience an awakening, or this awakening consciousness is nothing but you're transcending, you're moving from basic awareness to ego awareness, and then from ego awareness to awakened consciousness. That is, you're getting in touch with your soul. That is the first thing. You're moving beyond the ego. You see everybody's ego, you see your ego. So there is nothing really that can disturb your peace much, right? Because you see, everybody's playing out of ego and lack of, they're in their unconscious state, they're in their basic awareness. So you get in touch with your soul, you understand your soul purpose, you understand that you're part of a big interconnected reality, interconnected universe. And then awakened consciousness is higher states of consciousness, that is higher consciousness, highest self, and then unity consciousness. That is the awakened consciousness. And before awakening, it's usually basic awareness of our senses. That is how most of us are taught or brought up, and that's how we are, with our five senses and basic worldly things, worldly desires, worldly competition, worldly achievement, success, all that. Ego awareness comes when we have everything, but we are still not peaceful, we are still not happy. That's when we come to this path and we try to understand ego. And this is what this our series, the entire series of self-awareness, was this ego awareness. Basically, we are trying to transcend or get better with ego awareness, understand our thoughts, our emotions, where they're coming from, and get in touch with our soul, understand our soul purpose, and then work towards our soul purpose to fulfill the purpose of why we took our birth in this lifetime. So moving to that level is awakened consciousness, like getting in touch with your soul and your soul purpose so that you can fulfill it, basically. So, and then unity consciousness is like highest consciousness that only enlightened masters usually experience. So awakened consciousness means you have expanded awareness, and self-awareness is the foundation base of this. And that is what the series was about. You have an expanded awareness of everything in this, in your physical reality, both about yourself, about people you're interacting with, about the world, about society in general. Understanding from an energy perspective, understanding from a universal alignment perspective, from a consciousness perspective. So you have an expanded awareness of everything. And there is this true self-realization, understanding your true self. You get in touch with your true self that is beyond the ego. We have all these masks, as we've been seeing throughout the series. We wear masks, we do things, we portray ourselves of the way, in a way, to the world which is not very aligned to our true self most times. So understanding our true self, staying true to our true self, and valuing it is when becoming your authentic self is when your true self-realization happens. We all have our authentic self, and we all came here with a purpose. Becoming aligned with our authentic self, showing up to the world as our authentic self, irrespective of how the world perceives, is what true self-realization is. And in awakened consciousness, you have a connection to all, you have connection to everything, you have this deep sense of uh, connection. I cannot express in words when I had that experience with everything in nature, especially with nature. You have this profound connection. You feel like there is beauty. You feel that is so beautiful that you'll have just tears of joy out just sitting in nature, or just existing will give you tears of joy, because everything is, you see the beauty in everything and anything, even though your physical reality may be very challenging, very upsetting. You may be battling some sickness, or you may be having a lot of challenges with job, with your anything and everything. You have the challenges. Physical reality challenges are there, but you have this deep sense of peace within, because you're in touch with your authentic self. You have a true self-realization. You have this connection to everything around and to everyone around. So there is this beautiful peace and joy within, irrespective of the challenges that you have, because you don't see them as challenges. You know how to handle them because you're beyond the ego in this state. And you're always living in the present because you understand that mindfulness and being in the moment is the only reality. Our present moment is the only reality that exists in this moment of time. This very second is the only reality. Any thoughts, anything that we operate on autopilot with zero mindfulness and zero awareness, it's not real. They are projections of our mind. We are either in the past or the present, which is not real. Present moment, sorry, we are either in the past or the future, which is not real. Present moment is the only reality. So the more we practice meditation, the more we become mindful, the more we can tap into that beauty of reality. Even though I have 101 challenges in my life, in this moment, what am I doing? If I put my heart, soul, action, intention, everything on that one single thing, that is all that matters. That is all that is needed to attract and manifest every damn thing that you need in your life. Nothing else is needed. You don't need any proficient uh, tools. You don't need to spend money. You don't need any higher higher masters to come bless you. You don't need to find a guru. You all you need is the present moment. Present moment is only reality, and it is the only guru. As Patriji says, breath is our guru. Why? Because breath keeps us in the present moment. Watching and noticing our breath is like the is a great trick to keep us in the present moment. Meditation is what it does that. That is why we are asked to keep meditating, because it builds that muscle of being in the present moment. That is all. And in that meditation, there are beautiful experiences. Many see many things. They get connected to their soul. They get connected to their guides. Many things. Again, there is no hard and fast rule for all of this. Each of us are on our different journeys, and each of us have different experiences, and each of us gain different things from meditation. But the end goal is always to practice that mindfulness and always be present in the present moment. So living in the present and having this awakened consciousness, automatically we operate on high frequency emotions. We are always on the upper frequencies of the emotional chart, which I'll show in a bit. So we are always operating in peace, joy, love, the high vibrations. We are high, they say high vibe, right? That is nothing but you're operating in higher frequencies of vibration. When we are in ego or body consciousness, we always are oscillating in the lower frequencies. That is guilt, fear, self-doubt, jealousy, hatred, anger. All these are low frequency vibrations. Low frequency. This is where emotions come, right? The negative emotions are nothing but low frequency vibrations. So once we become this awakened consciousness, we are mostly in the upper frequencies of emotions. And you have this deep sense of purpose. Because you get in touch with your soul, so automatically you will know your soul purpose, and you will work towards it. You will find meaning to your life. You will see that every damn thing that happened, everything that you suffered from, everything, every challenge that you hated, actually you'll be thankful and grateful that it happened, because it all led to this. You see that interconnectedness, the beauty of that. Every damn thing is connected. Everything is connected. No regrets. Zero regrets for anything. No regrets. No complaints. As Patriji says, no regrets, no complaints. Because everything is so purposeful and so meaningful. You listening to this session is on purpose. You attending this self-awareness journey series may be a turning point in your life. Nothing happens out of coincidence. You will understand once you get into this state of consciousness. We attract people, we attract situations. So you'll find beauty and meaning and purpose in your life. And once when you are in ego consciousness, when you must have felt that you're a victim of life, it totally transforms. You no longer feel like a victim in spite of having challenges. Challenges will always be there. That is the fundamental reality of a human life. We come here to experience challenges because that will give that will help our soul's growth, our soul growth. So challenges will be there, but you will find meaning, you will find purpose in it, because you have a purpose and you understand all this. You don't see them as challenges. You'll try to overcome them and you have that strength in you, and you will be touch with that strength. So we also transcend duality. There is a transcendence of duality. Black and white thinking will be gone. Right, wrong, good, bad. That the duality, nature of duality we will be able to transcend that. Even time, the concept of time, you will understand that there is no time. Time is only for our physical reality. You will go beyond time. That's why you'll be able to access past life sometimes during meditation. For some of them who transcend duality, they'll be able to access the past and future, because those are hints, those are cues for their purpose or for their soul path, right? So all these happen in the awakened consciousness. So this is the chart I was talking about. So emotional frequencies is, this chart is something that I swear by, and it really helps to realign yourself when you understand that. If you notice the red portion, the lower frequencies, 20, it starts from 20 hertz. Okay. It lowest of frequency is shame. Shame is the very least low vibrational energy. Shame. Okay. And then is guilt. So guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, all these are low vibrations. They are suffering. They lead to suffering. This is where we are mostly in. We oscillate between these frequencies when we are in our body consciousness or ego consciousness, or in our unconscious state, or on autopilot. That is what most of us operate. Most of us are our loved ones, our family, friends, the world operates in these frequencies right now. And right now, we are all trying to raise our vibrations for ascension, because we are all ascending to higher vibrations. That's the neutral ones are like pride, courage. That is also low. Then there is neutrality. And then there is willingness, acceptance. Acceptance, if you see, is the starting point of expanded consciousness. So any challenge, any hard thing that we are going through in our lives, it begins with acceptance every single time. Everything begins with acceptance. So once we begin with acceptance, we will move beyond. Once we accept that situation or that person as is, we'll be able to move beyond that low vibrational thinking and low vibrational emotions, and we'll find reason. And then comes love, joy, peace, and the ultimate consciousness, unity consciousness, highest consciousness is enlightenment. This is where enlightened masters usually are. And that is the Omega state. The Omega pyramid names also aligned with this. The Omega state is the ultimate consciousness. So low vibrations, low frequencies, low emotional frequencies, whenever you notice, the whole entire series of self-awareness is awareness, noticing, noticing, noticing. Whenever you know, it doesn't matter who triggered you, what situation, no, what person is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. So when you notice, when you catch yourself in one of these lower vibrations, your job is to make yourself raise your vibration. That is the only answer to manifest the life you want, to manifest the desires you crave for, to manifest everything that your soul desires and your soul path, your purpose. It's nothing but raising vibration. And what do you do to raise vibration? Meditation, mindfulness, whatever it works for you, creativity, art for me, indulging in things that are not linked with others, or talking to a family member, sharing with a family member, or to a trusted friend, trusted ally. So do something to raise a vibration. That should be your number one step. I always say pause. When you notice something, pause, then take few deep breaths or do meditation. Come out of meditation. Already when you come out of meditation, your naturally our vibration raises, because we are in the present. We are not in the future or the past. We don't think about the hurt that happened, or the person that caused that anger, because we are trying to focus on the breath. Automatically our vibration raises. So meditation is like the base. It's like one shot all birds kind of a fix for everything. To practice mindfulness, for manifestation, to raise our vibration, to experience joy, to get answers, for good health, for peace of mind, for reduced anxiety. Benefits are endless. So emotional frequencies, if you understand this and keep this in mind and notice that irrespective of whatever you're going through or whatever is happening in our lives, and whenever there is this low vibration, we are not We are not denying it. We are not again suppressing those emotions. We are identifying it. We are embracing it. See it as a separate entity. Don't blame or label yourself. Like if somebody shames you, don't label yourself. Don't feel guilty. We as moms, our second name is guilt. We operate on guilt. You don't have to feel guilt for everything. Even if you feel, embrace it and identify, okay, I'm experiencing guilt. Don't become guilty. I'm experiencing guilt. It is a low vibration. Okay, that happened. Whatever has happened, happened. I'm experiencing guilt. It's a low vibration frequency. If I continue being in that vibration, that is what I will attract, because we are all vibrating beings. We are all vibrating at a frequency. If you vibrate at guilt, you will attract more situations and more people who will give you guilt. So if you want to continue doing that, you can stay there, because even emotional addiction is a thing, right? So that is ego game again. When you understand all these concepts that, okay, this is my ego making me feel guilty, so I have to raise my vibration. Do something that gives you joy. Listen to music automatically. If music is your thing, automatically your favorite songs, your vibration will be changed at least a little bit. Then with time through the day, become mindful. Try to journal about that incident. And then shift the dialogue, shift your ego dialogues, your ego thoughts with affirmations. All these are things that we need to practice. It's work, inner work. Along with meditation, if we do inner work, that is when we'll be able to surpass all these, the suffering stage. You see that the lower frequencies, we'll be able to surpass and at least get to the getting by stage. Again, pride is again ego thing, right? Pride is ego thing. But courage, neutrality, willingness, acceptance, those are, at least those are the vibrations that we can aim for. And then comes peace, joy, all that is like higher frequency. And that comes when you are in the awakened consciousness state. Okay. So again, so we understood the emotions. Again, it's the same thing. How do we awaken consciousness? We understood awakened consciousness. I already stated a few of them. So how do we awaken to that consciousness, right? As I said, first thing, basic thing is meditation and breath work. Breath work like pranayama, different box breathing, so many techniques. Breath work is very underestimated, I feel, both meditation and breath work. We even there we have goals. We want it to happen a certain way. So all without any expectations, just practicing them to get to the point of developing moment to moment awareness. As I said, mindfulness, moment to moment awareness, becoming mindful of everything that's happening in the now, in the present, is what gives uh, paves way for experiencing that awakened consciousness, becoming aware every single moment of the ego, becoming aware every single moment of the thought and the emotion that is coming inside, instead of suppressing, becoming aware, no suppressing, becoming aware of it, and then trying to pause and respond without reacting, uh, and taking action, taking the right action without feeling anxious, because anxiety, anxious, all these are ego things. So when we practice, and anytime we get anxious or we are fearful and we are getting sweaty and panicking, breath work comes to the rescue. Take few deep breaths or practice pranayama, box breathing, so many techniques. Or sit in meditation for a few minutes. Sometimes we cannot meditate immediately when we are very highly anxious with extreme increased heart rate. That's when breath work helps. Do some breath work and then sit in meditation. It will be so relaxing and you'll come back to the present. Anxiety usually comes thinking about the future, right? There's some threat or in the future that our body perceives and it reacts. So meditation, practicing mindfulness and getting to the point of moment to moment awareness is basic essential thing to pave way for awakened consciousness. And then self-awareness. This entire series was about this self-inquiry, self-reflection. Forget about the other person, forget about what life threw at you, forget about the challenge that you're going through. Always ask yourself. It may seem as unfair as it may look like, it's always within ourselves. We have to raise our vibration to attract the right opportunities, to attract the right people, to attract the right community, to attract right opportunities, right? So self-inquiry and self-reflection, self-awareness, understanding our thought patterns, ego wounds, inner child wounds, trying to heal them, doing inner work. All these are highly essential. Learning and self-education. What you're doing now, there's a typo in reading, but it's part of, you're trying to self-educate yourself, right? By attending these wisdom sessions and workshops, any healing workshops, reading, Swadhyaya. Patriji says Swadhyaya is so important. Why? Because reading is like you're self-educating yourself. There are so many brilliant books that once you read, you will have an aha moment. You will have, you will understand. Sometimes you get connected to your soul through reading also. This happened to me. For me, majority of my growth happened because of reading, because I was a very avid reader since childhood, since being a child. And I read some very complicated books very early on. Back then, I didn't understand the value. But when I look back, I credit my growth to reading. So reading books, and anything that you're struggling with, if you're struggling with boundaries, look for a book on boundaries. Find some good rated, highly rated books. Pick those up, read and understand those concepts and try to relate it with yourself. That is nothing but self-awareness. Relate it with yourself, where you can improve, where you can work on. Do journaling, keep intentions, keep practicing. All that are nothing but we are learning and self-educating ourselves. These will all raise our vibrations. The more we do it, the more easier it becomes. Connect with nature. This is like fundamental. You must have seen countless times in every session, they say connect with nature. Grounding. Grounding is like, I cannot stress enough about grounding. It's like how meditation is. If we attach grounding, journaling, and meditation, and if we do these on a daily basis, on an everyday basis, like brushing teeth, trust me, you will see a different version of yourself, a different version that you didn't know existed. You will be able to see your true potential. These are all you need. Grounding is, you have so much research on this, and there is, I don't want to go into that because you must have heard a countless number of times on grounding and the energy transfer that happens and the connection that we develop. It's so good even for our root chakra and our chakra system. And you develop that interconnectedness with nature. Connection with nature is highly essential, and it's like one of the key things that you will observe when you are in the awakened consciousness state. And that's when you you start caring about nature as well, become sustainable living and all of that. You understand the downsides that the world is currently doing, and there is this deep pain and deep connectedness that you feel with nature when you're in awakened consciousness. Then the other one is engage in creative activities. This I cannot stress enough because I myself being creative, and for me, this was the major thing that caused healing in myself. Creative expression is what helps with connecting to your inner self. Be it writing or art or dance or music. It doesn't have to be a single thing. It can be anything, any form of creative expression. Fashion is also a form of creative expression. It helps you connect your authentic self. And we know that authentic self is like connecting to your soul, to the soul in the for the it gives a hint of your purpose in this lifetime. So engaging in creative activities, these are not, creative activities are not only for kids. This is a very big misconception and conditioned belief that people have, that creative activities are only for kids. Kids indulge in creative activities because they are very mindful and present. And as adults, if we do that, it will get us back to that mindfulness and presence. So creative expression is highly important if you are a creative person, and if you were as a child, this is your like it's the fastest route to connect to your inner self. So highly recommend participating in one of any form of creative expression on a regular basis. Then balancing masculine and feminine energies. This is very important and highly essential. I know many of you may be aware of the masculine feminine energies and the different aspects of it. Masculine is usually action oriented, it's discipline, it goes by logic and all of that, while feminine is reception, is it goes with the flow. So a balance of these two is highly essential. It doesn't matter if you're a guy or if you're a girl, all of us have both masculine and feminine energies in us. So any one dominance causes suffering, for sure. If you're truly fully masculine with only logic, only action, only structure, masculine energy, they have this rigid structure. That is all ego pattern again, having rigidity. I want things to be only this way, organize only this way. So you need to bring in a little feminine energy, little letting loose, letting it go, taking it easy, going with the flow. Again, having dominant feminine energy is you be always go with the flow and you always like all over the place without any structure is also not good. If you want to achieve something, you need a balance of both. So understanding action and reception, where to have structure, where to go with the flow, where to have logic, where to ignore logic, because not everything is logic. Especially after coming to spirituality, you should understand that not everything is logic. Logic is just for the mind, right? Many things happen without logic. So you need to have that balance and have balancing those masculine and feminine energies. There are so many techniques for even journaling helps with this. So all these are part of self-awareness and trying to improve. There is so much that we can do to improve ourselves. So many aspects, right? A lifetime is enough to only learn about ourselves and improve. So why worry about other things? Okay, seek community. Sajjana Sangatya, what Patriji says, like-minded individuals, collective energy, having that collective energy, having that safe space, like this, all these sessions by Meditation Magic, this community that they're trying to build is to bring together all like-minded individuals who are trying to learn meditation, trying to improve their lives. We are all so committed, irrespective of it's so beautiful, irrespective of the different age groups that we are all in, and we are all trying to learn from each other. Can there be anything more beautiful than that? Right? We are all learning from each other. That collective energy in itself is so warming, heartwarming, and it helps us closer to those high vibrations, unity consciousness. It gives us a glimpse in a way. Being around like-minded individuals, learning and having book clubs, all of that. Attending these sessions is also community thing. So we can, as I said, elevating frequency, different things, right? Different things. One of the main thing is consuming high vibrational food. That is plant-based food. Prana, food that has prana. So this is also highly essential to increase our vibration. To reach those awakened, experience those awakened states of consciousness, high vibrational food consumption is a big part of it. So self-compassion is it's like the base of everything. When you're practicing self-awareness, when we're doing inner work, when we're trying something new, when we're trying to get better with meditation, we have to be kind to ourselves, because not everything happens overnight. Not everything happens in few weeks or in few months or few years. There's no hard or fast rule that this is when you should have an experience, or this is when, okay, I've been eating vegetarian food all my life, I still have anger. Of course, that they're two different things, but it helps. So you need to understand where anger is coming from. Why is it coming from? Again, self-awareness. So this journey is lifelong. Healing is lifelong journey, and it's messy. So we have to be very kind to ourselves. We are learning. Our soul is pushing us to learn. So we have to be kind to ourselves. When you are kind to yourself and you're compassionate to yourself, you'll automatically become compassionate to others as well. So there is kindness overall. So that is kindness, compassion is very high vibration. Again, it doesn't mean you have to be a doormat. You need to have boundaries. So understanding that ego thing, how to balance that masculine, feminine, and then self-compassion. All these very beautifully interplay when you move through your self-awareness and personal growth journeys. So, as Patriji always says, this is his quote, we are not exactly these physical bodies. We are actually beautiful eternal specks of consciousness. And that consciousness is nothing but just awareness, existence, some awareness. There is this beautiful sessions that Devi Garu usually gives on the different soul levels, right? So if that is also different soul levels is nothing but experiencing different sorts of different levels of awareness. Mineral kingdom is different awareness. Animal kingdom is different level of awareness. Human life is different level of awareness, right? So we are all eternal specks of consciousness that keeps evolving and experiencing different experiences, becoming aware of different experiences. So understanding this makes our life more beautiful and helps us push and helps us get a perspective, a broader perspective, an interconnected reality. That is what awakened consciousness is. So, thank you. Sorry, I went so over.